Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Frank and Candid. I am Tony Nias, and welcome to this Friday. It's the start of a brand new weekend, long weekend, and know you're all getting ready for all your plans. Let's go to what's happening in the news. Considering we're starting the Labor Day or May Day or Workers' Day weekend, there's a statement issued to mark May Day by the International Labour Organization Director General Guy Ryder. He calls on workers, employers, governments, international organizations, and all who are committed to building back better to join forces to bring in a world of work with justice and dignity for all. This year we again celebrate May Day, International Workers' Day, under the shadow of the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has devastated the world of work, destroying jobs, enterprises, and livelihoods, throwing millions into poverty and global development into reverse. And like most crises, it has hit the weakest and most vulnerable the hardest, making an unequal world even more unequal. The pandemic and its consequences are a stark reminder of global interdependence that applies to health as much as it does to our working lives. No one is safe until everyone is safe. No one can afford to be indifferent to the situation of others in the face of the fragility of the interdependent world that we have constructed. Solidarity is key to our common survival and prosperity within borders and across borders. That's a message from the Director General of the International Labour Organization marking this May Day or Workers' Day. All right, it's Friday, so as usual, it's an open Friday. Whatever is on your mind, feel free to call and discuss that, whether it be something that we discussed earlier in the week, or it is something that is has been pressing on your mind that you want to talk about. This is the day to talk about it. It's a Friday, and it's usually just open to you and your thoughts. But in doing so, let me recap for you some of the things we talked about during this past week. On Monday, we dealt with combating fake news, talked about how impactful fake news can be and some things you can do to avoid falling in the trap and being caught up with the rest of the world and social media with the fake news. On Tuesday, we had a chance to hear some good news about cricket in St. Kitts and Nevis. CPL coming to St. Kitts. We had the minister responsible for sport here in studio with us, the Honorable Jonel Powell, and we had a discussion on CPL and a little bit of sporting in general in the Federation. On Wednesday, we talked about the awesome power of prime ministers in the Westminster system, and there was a whole discussion on constitutional reform and how do you lessen, if you need to lessen it, and if it's an issue for you. We had that discussion relating to our similar constitutions in the region, which invest a lot of power in the executive and hence the prime minister who heads that executive. On Thursday, we talked about May Day, of course, Labor Day, Workers' Day, whatever term you use, but it's really about workers. And in that discussion, we opened up to discussing unions, who were the ones that originally led the fight for workers' rights and a lot of what we have accomplished to date. And one of the reasons why we celebrate this weekend in observance of workers and their contributions to our society. And here we are, Friday, an open Friday. It's the start of what is to be a 3-day weekend. And Monday will be a little different this year because of COVID. But nonetheless, we should still remember why Monday is a holiday. And so there you have it. Any of those things you wish to touch on, feel free to do so. Let me give you the phone number here. It's 465-2555. That's our local number. And if the North American number, 718-577-2916, that may be more convenient for you depending on where you are. So those are the numbers. Feel free to give us a call. Tell us what's on your mind. There are lots of things that come up during the week that are not necessarily in line with the topics being discussed at that time. And sometimes, we deal with it, but Friday is your day for any topic that's on your mind, whether it was brought up or not. So here you have it. Speaking of cricket, there's more than just the CPL that's coming. We also know that we to have earlier than that, I think it's in June, July somewhere, we're supposed to have Australia visiting us, and we should be getting three one-day internationals. And the key here is that you will be able to see them, right? You'll be able to see them, but you must be vaccinated. The cabinet has approved allowing a 50% capacity at sporting venues, so long as we all are all of those are vaccinated. Players, groundsmen, spectators, officials, everybody in that stadium will be vaccinated. So, if you will, they're playing in a bubble, as they would say. All vaccinated people on those grounds. And speaking of vaccination, that seems to be the trend nowadays, because most of any event that are being hosted nowadays are talking about admittance to only the vaccinated, fully vaccinated. And what they mean by fully vaccinated is that you have, in the case of the AstraZeneca, which we are using here in St. Kitts and Nevis, if you have gotten both shots of the AstraZeneca and 14 days have lapsed between the last shot and whenever you intend to enter a venue, then you're good to go, because the professionals, scientists, recommending that once you're vaccinated, within a couple of weeks, it should take effect, and you should be covered from serious illness as a result of the COVID-19 virus. So that's one. There was a story that we talked about earlier in the week along the same lines, which spoke to the carnival celebrations in the U.S. Virgin Islands, which are on the way as we speak. And there was an advertisement for a fete. And even in that situation, you can only enter that party or that fete if you are fully vaccinated. So there you have it. More and more, every time you turn around, that seems to be the trend, that the events are open, but only to vaccinated people. So again, you make your choice. It's not a mandatory thing. At this point, there's nothing here mandatory in St. Kitts and Nevis. If we need to get to that, we will get to it, but at the moment it is not. But organizations, whether they be entertainment organizations, whether they be corporations, they're making decisions in the interest of their workplace, their workers, their shareholders, and all of that. And they have a right to make those decisions to protect their own people. And so do you. You have a right to take or not take something inside of your body. Not to mention airlines, cruises. We expect the first cruise here in July, and that cruise has already made it clear that they're only dealing with fully vaccinated people. Members of the crew, their passengers will all be fully vaccinated, and so the ports that they decide to call on, they're expecting to deal with fully vaccinated people, from the tour operators to the taxi operators. They expect to be dealing with fully vaccinated people. Otherwise, that would not be a port of call for them. So, again, that's the trend. Agree or disagree? But it is Labor Day weekend, May Day weekend, Workers' Day weekend. So let's kind of stick with that a little bit. Usually on this weekend, there's an opportunity for a lot of activities for workers and their families. Usually engage in a number of activities, especially on the actual day, Monday. Usually we get the marches, the activities, and political parties are fully involved in them. Of course, it is hard and think it's a nevis not to make anything political. There's a political slant to just about everything in these days, but it doesn't have to be, and it really is not about that. We talk about the nexus between political parties and unions. Unions represent people, and so there's that close affiliation in some cases. So I guess there's not much you can do about that. So it happens. Not to suggest that it's good or bad. Like everything else, there are the pros and there are the cons to that close affiliation. Whether or not it works to your advantage or not, you make that determination. However, the focus should be on the worker and not on the politician or the political parties, etc. So I would say go out, and if you could, within the constraints of the protocols which are in place and which we must adhere to. If you can operate within those, then go out and do so with you and your family, because you deserve it. Workers have been through some tough times which many of us have not experienced, because we came along at a time when the fight has already taken place, and the people cleared the way for us to have good working conditions. So there you have it. All right, so it's your time. 465-2555, 718-577-2916. Let's go to the phones and say good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey and Queen Enzing. God bless you, my beloved African brother. How are you, the family?
We're doing well. How are you doing?
Good, man, and the clan is good.
Great.
Now, beloved brother, I'd like to touch on something else.
Yes, go ahead.
There was a hot button, quote-unquote hot button issue. It is, but I know, you want to tell me, up to now, this administration cannot bring to Parliament requirement, the residency requirement. Come on, Mr. Prime Minister and the Cabinet. Come on, the people, especially those of us who live abroad. We want to know whether it's going to be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 months, whatever. But I personally, 3 weeks, that's it. Because, brother, most of us don't get most of us get 2 weeks vacation. That's it. Most of us are financially poor. And you're allowed to take your sick days. Some people don't even get 7 or 10 sick days, beloved. So I like to see this administration embark on that, man, expeditiously. Whether it's going to be 1 year, 1 month, 3 months, 3 weeks, whatever time frame is going to be. And, you cannot shut out people who were born, who ancestors, blood is in the style of St. Kitts Nevis, man. No. And then all kind of people come from out of Asia, Europe, and other places, beloved, and can't vote. And the enslaved great-grandchildren. No, man, that's not right, beloved. So again, I'm calling on Prime Minister and the Cabinet. We want to know. We want you to bring this thing. No, don't wait until your election and say, but it's gone. They just total nonsense. So, Mr. Prime Minister and the Cabinet, listen, man, it's just not me alone, There are a lot of people. But, some people don't want to come on radio for whatever reason and speak about things, especially if they are supporters of CCM, PAM, PLP. They don't want to. But I ain't going to support no one blindly. You do right, I commend you. You do wrong, I put some verbal fire under your pasty. That's me. And I will never waver from that. So, just man, come on. I want to hear that. Let me say that now, we want to hear that, what's going on in that, beloved brother. Now someone else want to speak. You have a great weekend. You and the Queen and the entire Federation, and to my beloved sisters and brothers over there in the Pan-African Republic of Cape Verde. Full-time, young sisters and brothers. Rise up, man. Make a change. Don't follow your grandparents and great-grandparents vote for the same thing. Like, I respect a lot of things that they have done during their time in the physical. But, things have changed. You can't do the same old political nonsense, young people. Give a change, and if you vote for the change and you ain't get the change, then you just dump them out, beloved. So, beloved, have a blessed weekend. Pan-Africanism our perish. One love, my beloved brother.
All right, one love. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. I'd like to follow up on what the brother just said. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, praise Mother and Father Africa. The Europeans and the other nations has always given us these days, Mother's Day, Father Day, Dog Day, Workers' Day. You don't have reparations day. You really don't. And I think it's incumbent on black leaders throughout the world to get back a sense of purpose, give the people a sense of purpose. They should be in tune personally. They should be in tune with the African Union and the Agenda 2063. All black leaders should be in tune with the African Union and the Agenda 2063. Give the people a sense of purpose. When you have Workers' Day, look at how much work black people have put into this country. And now the Chinese immigrant, come on over, enjoy the work we've done. That has to cut out. You have to revamp everything. The leaders now should be pushing towards reparations, understanding, and focusing on the Agenda 2063 for black people. It's hard to believe, but it is in the frequency already. Just tap into it. That's all you have to do. Be vanguard in this cause. It's a great cause. White supremacy is death. We have to know what went down. We have to understand the trauma have to understand why people or children have problems like this. The mothers have problems like this. You have to know. It's very traumatic. We only came out of here basically in the 70s. We haven't got a chance to rebuild our own state of mind, and yet they have people with millions of dollars investing. When are we going to get a chance to heal ourselves and then have room to progress? These people just take the room away from us. So leaders, you're very weak, or you're weak. You didn't say nothing about linking up. You have to be vanguard till this time. Bless.
Okay.
Okay, bless.
Thank you. Back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid. Good morning, caller. You're live.
I wanted to look at the bribery and treating case at the 30,000 foot level. Okay. I don't even want to go to looking at the actions of the DPP. For most people, I think, would see this as an affront to natural justice, right? And I guess the DPP has to live with his conscience for the decisions he made, okay? Because essentially in this case, simply by intervening, he picked a side and did not let justice to go to its natural conclusion, one way or the other, that is. I know we all have our biases, but I think it's important that we establish a few things. The first is that, well, does anybody out there believe that the care packages and other gifts were not given out with the intention to influence the voters to vote for the giver? Okay? And by all sides, not any one side, by all sides. Secondly, that being the case, does one think that there's nothing wrong with that if it's done by politicians? And note I said politicians, not NGOs or the Salvation Army or some altruistic organization that don't have something to gain by doing this, okay? Right? Because a politician is a peculiar animal who actually does things to solicit votes. Okay? And thirdly, I heard one politician saying that it's a case of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you do, you are bribing or treating. If you don't, you are not being a good representative. And so the question is, what makes a good representative? Is it a Santa Claus, a Godfather, or is it a competent politician who can deliver programs and opportunities and make policy that all citizens, not just some, but all citizens can benefit from equally? So the impression given is that this gifting is now the new norm, and the bigger the better, okay? And that would have huge implications for, it means that politicians with deeper pockets will always win. And it puts a price on people's vote. It corrupts the electorate, okay? Because some will do it for 300, some do it for 1,000, some do it for house and land. I don't know how the politicians decide who to approach soliciting votes in exchange for what, okay? But basically what they're doing is putting a price on people's heads that is reminiscent of slavery days, when slave owners put a price on people's head. And do we really want to go back there? The hard fact is, nothing replaces the dignity of work and working for what you want, right? No matter what anybody else may give you, nothing engenders more dignity and pride and confidence than you earning your living independent of some politician or some godfather or you having connections. Nothing can replace that, okay? And so while it may work for some now, I think at the 34,000 foot level, we should be looking at where this is leading our country to. Is this what we want for the future, right? And if the answer is no, well, shouldn't we be doing something about it? No. Electoral reform, campaign finance reform, those sorts of things, which everybody before felt were necessary. But all of a sudden, because it benefits some, it's no longer necessary. Okay. So I just like to challenge people to think about those things.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Couple of things there. It's strange that from 1983 independence until today, there has been no campaign finance reform for us. I mean, even though we had the power to make the changes, in some cases, political parties had all 8. Secondly, the judiciary operates on evidence, and when you go to courts, you must be providing evidence, and if there's none, then you're in the wrong place. Also, thirdly, intent. Intent is a tough thing to prove. You must prove it. And I cannot sit back and say what your intent is. If I believe that your intent is X or Y, I could take you to court. I'm free to do that. But when I get into court, the court operates on evidence. Got a caller? All right. So those are the things to consider. Even if you're in agreement with that there should be campaign finance reform and all of that, which I do. Back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Mr. Niles, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Great.
Staying safe.
Okay, good.
Now the question is, when I listen to people talking about trying to bribe voters and so forth to vote a certain way, this ain't nothing new, This ain't nothing new. Because I said on this program before, of a friend of mine who had a slip of paper to ask him to vote for this particular party, and he was going to get a fridge and a stove. It so happened that the guy waited too late, and when he did went, they had stopped. Well, he went too late and he wasn't able to get the offer. So, but the question is, how can we stop a party from encouraging a voter by means of giving them something to vote for them? It's all well and good to talk about it now, because it's been happening before. This ain't the first time it happened. I mean, when you're going to pay a man passage to come to St. Kitts to vote for you, that's a form of bribe. That's a form of bribe. There's no way you could put it. That's a form of bribe. The man ain't paying his own passage to come here to vote for you. He's paying his passage. And let's don't beat around the bush. Everybody know that happened. I am one man who don't believe that a man's supposed to come here to vote. He must be able to spend some time. And I will continue to say that. I don't care how this side is going to benefit. I do not believe that nobody should come in the country today because they call election, let's say, a month, 3 months ago. I think that's like 3 months, and you come in and vote and then don't vote, and you go out. I believe the way it was in the days of the Labour Party. I'm going to say I'm not for Labour Party. I'm just saying that before that way. You should be able to come in and spend some time in the country before you're allowed to vote. You can't just come in today and vote, and then when you go away, you live your happy life in the U.S. or wherever you come from, and you leave me in Bukachu with the government I don't really want. So, giving a man a ticket, bringing a plane load of people, is a form of bribe. It's a form of bribe. Because I know it happened. And I believe it happened in the last election. So, how the question is, how can we stop it? Really, really, truly, honestly stop it. That no side at all, no party at all should be able to give anything to anybody to get them to vote for them. And it's going to be difficult because no matter what you do, Mr. Noyes, no matter what you do, even if you have to give them something, they get a house, when I say a house which you have to pay for, in some cases people don't want to pay for the house for them. It's going to be very, very difficult. It's all well to say, but it's going to be difficult to get it to work. It can't happen. And the politicians and them are not all honest. It ain't gonna work. So it left to be seen. But for me, I don't believe in it. I mean, if a man come and do something for me, if a man give me a piece of land, let's assume I want a piece of land, and I put it in, and a representative gun say, "But I'm gonna help you," and he helped me to get the land. Well, I might just vote for him. The possibility that I may vote for him, but the chances are I might vote for him because he helped me to get a piece of land, which I have to prefer. He give me nothing for free. So you understand what I'm trying to say? It's gonna be difficult, really, really difficult, to stop that from happening. And I believe that it happened. Thank you.
Okay. You know, those are going to be tough. I mean, proving bribery is tough. I mean, even the plane ride is an issue that we talk about for quite a while. But it's hard to pin that down and say, well, if you pay for somebody to come to St. Kitts around election time, it's bribery. I don't know. The legal people will work that out, but we could discuss that. Back to the phones. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, I'm on a different position. You see, concerning the vaccine, my position is more than half the population that questions serious concerns about the vaccine. I am saying if the society elect representatives who represent their best interest, shouldn't our representatives be paying attention to the concerns of those people? Now, see, we are comparing and we are using a word called herd immunity, which is not a real word, it's a fallacy. In case of a smallpox, which is a specific virus, it was easy to infect 94% of the world with that singular virus. And so you reduce outbreaks because 94% of the world is infected. So any outbreak you would see would not be too much. All of you got smallpox already. With the coronavirus, the concern is this. It is not any specific virus. It is mutating by thousands. So when you give me a vaccine from the original strain that only lasts, give me 2 months protection anyway, that is made up from the original spike protein from that original COVID-19. What are you take from some human? That is what is happening. Now, you will protect me, or I have some sort of protection. Him that could get sick, still go hospital and dead. I still have some protection from that original spike protein virus. Now, if and it is mutating, I have no kind of immune protection from the original, from any variant. Because I have only protection from that specific virus. People have real concern. We want real representation. Don't just tell us you can't go work on them things. Bless you.
Okay. Back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Yes, brother. Now, yes.
Yes, sir.
Quickly. Brother, I support the 100%. I agree with the second caller, beloved. Brother, and let me say, man, the African Liberation Day is coming up soon, you know? I never like you. Suggestion, but I can't tell you how to run things on your show. You know, you have a Pan-Africanist, but I mean, you got Kalonji, you got others, you know? Brother, and let me say a blessed morning to Brother Culture, man. Brother Culture, speedy recovery, beloved. Speedy recovery. Yes, brother. So I want to see, you know what I mean, that all these things, brother, for our people, man. Our people, we must celebrate our ancestors. We cannot be ungrateful, beloved. We cannot be ungrateful because the old saying say, and it's relevant today, ungratefulness is worse than witchcraft, and everybody know witchcraft is very, very, very evil. Brother, one last thing, beloved. Brother, I want you, someone sent me a piece that Brother Cecil Hamilton wrote. I don't know if you see that. The title is A Vision for St. Kitts Nevis. Brother, a masterpiece. So you could go on YouTube and, check it out when you have some time. Brother, and let me big up the brother. Brother Cecil Hamilton, brother, masterpiece, man. Well written, and you put everything into perspective. I mean, the ideas are not really new, but the package was excellent, beloved. Excellent. Brother, again, have a blessed weekend, brother. Continue to listen. Pan-Africanism our perish.
All right. Thank you. All right. Good morning. Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. All right. All right. A whole lot to unpackage there in those calls. One caller was on the first caller was on the residency requirements for voting, a topic which we have dealt with here, and guess we will continue to deal with more discussions on that. Well, we're kind of far out from an election, right? So people don't really think about it until such time. And but we will get to that topic at some point again. Back to the phones, though. Good morning. Welcome.
Yes, I warrior.
Yes, sir.
I want to differentiate the Union from the Labour Party.
Go
because
ahead.
the Labour Party was used to overthrow the Union. That's where I come from. The Union was standing up for their rights, for better wages and better conditions. And the Labour Party was used to overthrow. So I don't see the reason to separate, partake in the Labour Party. The Labour Party come from England. Yeah, that's it, my brother.
Okay, got you. Back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, nice. I just need to say something here on the virus.
Yes.
I wish it was possible for me to isolate myself from all the news regarding the virus. Because when I was younger, and I think you may have experienced that too, is that when you hear they're coming to the school, I don't know if they used to come every year, I really don't know, but they come to give you a vaccination. You had no idea as to what effect. I know that some people used to take sick, fever, sometimes for a whole week they can't come back to school, they can't move their arms, their hands swell up, you get this big boil. I think I still have the scar on me right shoulder after all those years. But all you're hearing, somebody said to me, boy, don't take it. I am not here to encourage nor discourage anybody from taking it, because to take the vaccine is an individual thing. We see what happened in Angola. We hear what's happening in India. When you see all the prayers, I think it's prayers they call them, with the burning out. It seems to me that they're 10 feet within each other. We don't want this thing to get to here in St. Kitts. The question is, what's going to happen when we open the country? The slow rate in which the people are going to get the vaccine, including me, and then you hear, well, boy, it's only going to affect you if you have some underlying issue. But then what do I have to do? I have to go and get some to do a physical to make sure whether I have any underlying issue. So you see, Mr. Norris, it's difficult for people to just get up and go. I hope to God that we don't have a situation like in Angola, because they, a small community population, was given a lot of problem, wasn't going, and then bam, you had the spread, and people in long lines, and I really don't want this to happen here saying this, but I have concern. I'm not going to say fearful. I have concern about the vaccine. I really have some really strong, because when you put something in your body, it ain't something you could just go and get another injection and come out. So I would not tell people don't go. I would not tell people go. I think it's a personal decision that you have to take to decide whether you're going to take the vaccine. But there's too much negativity being banded around out there, and I think that is the fear that people have in their mind, that Lord, over a million people who say I won't be the one person who come now with the blood clot. It ain't an easy decision to make. I mean, at one point they say, "Boy, you're going Saturday, going," and then next thing you hear something else, say, "Boy, so it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to make a decision to take the vaccine." Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Back to the phones. Good morning, welcome.
Yes, one again, Mr.
Yes, sir.
I think it was JFK who made the comment in talking about the moonshots, that we choose to do great things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. And the impression I'm getting is that we choose not to try to improve things, to change things, to make things better, because it's difficult to do. But we have to aspire to these things. Okay, otherwise the alternative is the status quo remains the same. It's interesting that all the parties put in their manifestos things on good governance to deal with things like these: electoral reform, campaign finance reform, integrity in public life, freedom of information, all these good things. But then they don't implement them. Right? So it is not we don't know what to do, We know that we can put criteria in place, for instance, that everybody gets a fair shot at the resources of the country. If it's a house, you have particular criteria that qualifies particular people. Everybody could understand something like that. They didn't get it because so and so and so, they did not meet the criteria. They got it because they met the criteria. That's not hard to do. It's the will that we lack to do it. And people are not holding the people in power accountable, because like I said, all of them, past and present administration, they know exactly what to do. But we are not holding them accountable. And why are we not holding them accountable? Because they can, same old divide and rule, they can pick us off one by one, say, you can get a house, you can get a land, you can get $1,000, and we forget all the things that they promise to regularize these things. Okay? So I don't want people to feel that this is pie in the sky, that it can't happen. Things like cheating and bribery are on the books. They're not just buzzwords. Okay? And don't tell me about the evidence, because the evidence has not been presented in court to a magistrate. What happened here was that the DPP made a subjective decision, right? He used his discretion and decided that the evidence was not there. Well, I think he usurped the role of the magistrate or judge in that case, basically. It should have gone forward. If the evidence was definitely lacking, then the case would have been dismissed. Simple. But don't stop it, right? Because these things need limits and boundaries need to be put on these things. We need to know the limits and the boundaries. Otherwise, it's just going to keep on happening. That was my point.
Okay.
Okay.
Back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid. Good morning.
Good morning, Brother Tony.
Good morning.
You see, if we fear
and we're consistent with these things, but that last candidate to talk about, the situation would have been done be better than how we be. Because if he was consistent in seeing good governance, he would have spoken about it long time. Okay? Let's say then, suppose tomorrow, or next month, or month after, they have election, and his party go back in government. Do you think he will come on radio and his party and do the same thing when he's speaking about? He going to come on radio and say anything? He ain't come say nothing. So it's a culture we all got to live with. This ain't nothing about fairness or thingness now. This is a culture we all got to live with. You know? So I want to just let him know that. He going for now kind of radio talk show now saying this and saying that. And I hear him say first when he come on radio talk show, come call in. He said that he ain't supporting a political party. He thought he's supporting his country and whatsoever. And now, come now, he is a political talker for the opposition. And me and mind that, everybody got to talk. Me talk for my party. Me talk for whosoever. And Tony, we will never get the blowing politics out unless the people of this country see things done the way it's supposed to be done. When a government in, Tony, let me tell you something. The most criticism we ever see under the administration is under this unity administration, they're doing well. Only a few people to talk about under the farm administration. People like me and culture and a few others call down. Only a few. But you find a lot of people calling in now under this administration, all they're doing well. For the ordinary man and woman in the federation, all they do so much things. Showing us that how a government is supposed to treat poor people. But you never hear from that. So, look at them. I do not take on heat where they come with, because I know that them is only political gimmick and just try to mislead and twist people and turn people a different angle. Tony, you have a wonderful day. God bless.
All right. Okay. Okay, it's Friday. We go all over the place on a Friday. From one place to the next. But that's Friday. Let's go back to the phone. We lost that one. Let's see what we have here. Good morning. Welcome.
Mr. Nayas.
Yes.
That caller is long on the phone. He sure is frank and candid. Why is he attacking people? Everybody has a chance to hear what's on their mind. He had 25 years.
So do you. So go ahead.
So he need to stop it. I'm listening, and every day is the same old chorus. So please, tell him come with something else. Okay?
Okay. Thank you for sharing what's on your mind. Let's go back to the phone. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Greetings.
Greetings.
This year, Germany returning things taken from Nigeria. We give thanks. They shouldn't take it in the first place, but we know all the ravaging and everything what went on. We encouraging the rest of them to give back what them take, you know. I think Germany alone did it. And if it comes to the test, if they don't want to return them, if we take them, if we take everything else, what we suppose, what we keep begging for. Yeah. Give thanks.
Give thanks. All right. Okay. Got you. Thank you for sharing what's on your mind as well. All right. It's a Friday. And as I say, you know, it's an open Friday. It can go anywhere. Just keep it clean. And we entertain it here on Frank and Candid. As we say, be respectful. But if it's on your mind, we will hear it. All right? And, so, from all sides of the coin. And this coin has more than two. So, more than two sides. So, let's go back to the phone and say good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Good morning, my good brother.
Good morning.
You know what does amaze me? When the Labour Party was in power, right, you used to have some people, I mean, they were very vocal about everything that Labour did. They could see everything that was wrong. And the Labour supporters stayed quiet. Labour lose now, and those persons who was quiet, now they're very vocal. And those persons who was vocal in Labour time, now they now are very quiet. I mean, we got to change all this. We are too one-sided and too much blaming one party when the other party does the same thing when they're in. We stay quiet. We got to change that. That's what I have to say.
Got you. All right. Thank you for what you have to say. All right. Well, that's the way it works. I guess. I mean, we keep saying that we have to change that, and we have to just shoot straight. You know. But unfortunately, we have not changed that culture, and we don't always talk about wrong and right in the sense that it is wrong or right. We talk about wrong or right depending on who does it. But even with that, it is your right. So your opinion, and you're free to support whoever you want to support. But I kind of like the debates where people are just straightforward. We just leave who's doing it out of the question. The issue is this, and if it's wrong, then it's wrong. If it's right, then it's right. But unfortunately, we got a ways to go to get there, and we should become a little more tolerant, hearing other people's views. Sometimes when you hear other people's views, it's to really bring them down too, so don't really knock it so much. Let them speak. All right, we got a caller. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm on a different topic this morning.
Sure.
We are blessed in St. Kitts, right? Because we have so much to be thankful for, yet still we are still grumbling and complaining. But this morning when I get up, I turn on my TV and I see the situation in St. Vincent. I said, thank God for his hands on St. Kitts and Nevis. Because it is right now in St. Vincent, people doesn't have homes. We have homes here. We have water, we have the electric, we have life, we can move around, and yet still we are still grumbling and complaining. How much of us get up this morning and say, thank you, Lord, I'm on the last day of May. Let us look at our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent and pray for them and stop the grumbling and complaining. Be thankful for what we have and where we are in St. Kitts and Nevis. Have a blessed weekend.
All right, don't push us too far. It is the last day of April, not May. You're going as fast as it is. But yeah, it is the last day of April. So, and it's moving along. And we're ending with a bang here because we had a whole weekend coming up here with some time to reflect and whatever else you do, party, whatever else you do, within the protocols though. Alright, so yeah, it's Friday, and we have been all over the place. We've talked about the vaccine hesitancy, we'll talk about residency requirements for registration for voting. We've talked about a reparations day. We've talked about bribery and cheating, plane loads coming in for election, free speech. We talked about vaccine, talked about African Liberation Day, talked about all kinds of stuff so far. So we will go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome.
Denias.
Yes, sir.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'm glad to see them lot of faith that you have, people. I want to tell you something, and it might sound like a joke. You know how serious it be in India?
Yeah.
They run out of space. You know what space means? Who dig in. They run out of wood.
Oh, yeah. They can't even burn them, right? They got no wood.
You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I see.
It sounds like a joke, but they run out of wood right now.
I see that.
So how serious it be up there?
Yeah.
They can't handle the amount of dead.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so all the best to you.
All the best to you as well. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching and paying attention to what's going on in India. It's a mess. I mean, and it's you're seeing this whole field of burning bodies, and they have to keep going and bringing in wood for the fire, and people just they just have to burn these bodies. It's just so much, and like the caller said, I mean, reaching a point where it's tough to get the wood now to burn. That's serious stuff there going on in India. And for the people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are keeping you in our thoughts. I hope things look up, and hopefully we'll get the kind of support from your CARICOM neighbors as you deserve. We have to look out for one another, especially here in this region. All right, well, I think we got time for one more call to wrap up this Friday this week. Let's go to the phone. Say good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, Brother Tony, that last caller couldn't have said better. The situation out there so dirty with this COVID, that these men who on the opposite side criticize him, they will never come on and commend the task force, commend the government for nothing at all that they done for the people of this country to keep COVID out. They will never do that. Every day they come with a negative. I don't mind, because there is great opposition here to oppose. But they will never say one thing good. That in the small country where we from, that something has done good with the government. They're doing good. Not a thing good they try to say. Just coming and twisting people's mind and feeding the people with the ignorance. But not me, no. Not me, I'm too stupid to fool. Not one of them could fool me. I'm too stupid to fool. All right, Brother Tony.
I like that. Yeah. And that's a good way to wrap up this Friday. Too stupid to fool. And wrap up this week of Frank and Candid. I am Tony Nance, and we will talk again next week. Monday is a holiday. Enjoy yourself. We'll be back here on Tuesday with much more Frank and Candid. Have a great weekend. I'm Tony. See you.
Radio, entertaining the nation, enjoyed by the world.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us on the web at